Well, there's a lot of things that I know about airlines and cabin classes. The inadvertent ramification of being autistic enough to like planes and having enough drive to make videos about them. But every now and then, I'll get a bit of a backlash for my content, and Finnair seems to be at the center of my most unpopular video on this channel. So what exactly happened? Basically, I flew the Finnair A350 from Amsterdam to Helsinki, and I purchased a seat up in their premium cabin and was a little bit mortified by what Finnair was offering for their onboard product. Now, when I highlighted this in my video, it was consequently revealed to me that Finnair's premium seat doesn't actually include a premium service on their European flights. And while a lot of viewers, in fact the majority, agreed with the outcome of my flight, I seem to have upset a handful of viewers by my classification of this flight as a premium economy experience. And after some reflection to the viewers I upset, I'm sorry. But here's the thing. Even in economy, filthy seats and subpar buy-on-board products should not be the norm. You as a consumer deserve better. And in a final attempt to give Finnair a fair shot, without any room for misinterpretation, I set out on a Helsinki to London flight in the most unfiltered, embellished and painfully honest version of air travel. We call this economy class. No upgrades and no fancy extras. Will it impress or will I endure? Let's find out. Welcome to Helsinki Airport. It's definitely one of the more futuristic airports I've been through. One kind of personal observation I made about Helsinki Airport is that the ground staff here are genuinely some of the nicest people I've ever encountered, going out of their way to help anyone they see. To explain this point a little bit better, let me explain the window seat conundrum that I encountered. When I first purchased this ticket, I was randomly assigned an aisle seat, but when I asked if I could switch to a window seat, the check-in staff said it wasn't possible without paying extra. And depending on where you're flying, this cost will vary, but if you'd like to save a few euros, there's a helpful trick you can use. To circumvent the extra cost associated with my seat, I went to the transfer desk about an hour before I was supposed to depart. Now, the lady at the transfer desk was really nice and even gave me a few options as to where she could assign me. All of this done absolutely free of charge. Now, you can also double down on this by using a third-party app to check whether your flight is full and whether it's worth paying extra for, but on this occasion I was happy to risk it. And obviously it'll depend on the availability of seats on your flight, but if you're feeling extra cheap like me, that's definitely one way to secure a window seat. And apart from the Finnair ground staff, I also found the security agents to be really friendly as well. And there's something about being at Helsinki Airport that makes you feel like you're straight out of a movie, and I cannot elaborate on this further because I don't entirely know what I myself mean by this. But the whole Finnish outdoor vibe is definitely present inside the airport that makes you feel like you're kind of in Narnia, and I think that's the best way I can describe it.
Couldn't I have some more now?
No!
And while there's a lot of things that we might not know about Finland, we all know that Finnish people love saunas, and Helsinki Airport is one of the very few airports in the world to offer a sauna experience inside the terminal. The not so great thing about Helsinki Airport is that by dusk it's a pretty abysmal place to do plane spotting. Don't worry though, because as the plane pulls in from Sweden, it's only going to be on ground for about an hour before taking us back to London. Now, Finnair's Helsinki to London service initially touched down in Gatwick first before getting deployed to London Heathrow. Today we're flying the A320, but Finnair can even deploy the A350 on this route from time to time, and that'll make it one of the shortest A350 flights in the world. But London also plays an important part in Finnair's network because in the early 2000s, Finnair began tacitly promoting Helsinki as a stopover point for passengers onwards to China and other parts of Asia. Now, this also means that before Russian airspace was shut down, London to Helsinki flights were part of a Great Circle route to Asia, which cut times down significantly. When I boarded my flight, I received a very warm welcome from the crew who had just commenced their workday operating this London turnaround. Now, on this particular aircraft type, there's a couple of seats reserved for business class, which is the usual economy seating but with a blocked off window seat in the middle, and then you get 189 standard seats for economy. The good thing is that the legroom and seat pitch are decent, and at 5'6", I didn't need any extra legroom. Now, these are your seat features, and even though they might seem pretty standard, for a 3-hour flight they're more than sufficient. one thing that I've talked about in the past is the state of the Finnair buy onboard snacks. Personally, I don't think getting something off their buy onboard menu was worth it in my humble opinion, so I kinda just relied on their free beverage run. Now for these kind of flights, their free beverage run only includes water and blueberry juice. The blueberry juice is actually quite nice and tasty though, so that was a refreshing touch. However, in my view, I think Finnair should at the very least offer some tea and coffee, because the argument that European airlines don't provide you with anything on inter-European flights is simply wrong. My 50-minute British Airways flight and my 45-minute KLM City Hopper flight both had snacks. So if you're one of my European viewers, please don't let your airlines gaslight you into thinking that you don't deserve a complimentary snack on your flight, because you definitely do. Now whether or not you choose to fly Finnair depends on how much you want from an airline and how much you expect. Depending on whether you have some crazy loyalty to the airline, you'd obviously have a preference, but in terms of value for money, I don't think Finnair brings bang for your buck on these inter-European flights. However, keep in mind that both of my reviews were based off regional European flights on Finnair, and their flights to Asia and the US are significantly better. Why might this be the case? Well, again, this is purely speculative because I haven't tried their long-haul product, but their A330 and their A350 aircraft claim to have wider seats and 11 to 12-inch IFE monitors. But if you really want to know more about Finnair, you can have a look at one of their cooler features, which is their 3D cabin virtual tour. And remember, if you're new here, to check out my other content and airline reviews, and also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and I aim to know all my subscribers on a personal level, so feel free to DM me telling me who you are and why you enjoy my videos or why you think my videos absolutely suck, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'll let you enjoy the landing now, but stay tuned for the final outcome and whether Finnair ultimately has my final seal of approval. Alright, so where has Finnair done well today? First of all, Helsinki airport is an easy transit experience with centralized security and minimum connection times. I also found all of the Finnair staff, that's ground crew and cabin crew alike, just excellent to deal with. Extremely helpful, extremely courteous, and many of them bilingual. And while the onboard product is nowhere near praiseworthy, I found the blueberry juice to be quite refreshing, so good job Finnair. However, on the flip end of the spectrum, we must talk about where Finnair must improve on. First of all, I think they are far too overpriced for their offering, and if people are really okay with no complimentary meal offerings or even tea and coffee being offered, that's honestly fine, but I can't really justify the price that you pay. And it's because of that very reason that if I had the choice to fly Finnair again within Europe, I definitely wouldn't fly them, especially if there's many more airlines to choose from. Anywho, here's the final score for today's flight. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.